Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Community Connections. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jeremy Capone, and I'm part of the Cancer Rehabilitation and Survivorship Program at the Princess Margaret Cancer Center. And we have another great event for you today. Lots of amazing presentations, and to end it off with our cooking and nutrition demonstration. So just to run through the agenda really quickly, we are going to have Ilene Shiller, who is the Manager of Financial and Workplace Programs at Wellspring, Canada. I'm going to introduce her in a second. After that, we have a short presentation from Jason Wong from the GWN Events to talk about this amazing Dragon Boat program. And then at 12 p.m., we're going to start off with our cooking and nutrition demonstration featuring some of our incredible George Brown College culinary nutrition management students. So we have a full slate of events and exciting activities today. So if you have any questions throughout, you can ask in the chat box. But without further ado, I want to introduce Ilene Shiller. So as I mentioned, Ilene is the Manager of Financial and Workplace Programs at Wellspring Cancer Support Foundation. In that capacity, she meets one-on-one with clients through the Money Matters program and leads the Returning to Work, Wellness at Work, and Brain Fog Support and Education programs. Ilene specializes in the areas of income options for people who are too sick to work, including government and workplace benefits, and return to work issues when patients are in the recovery stages. Ilene leads workshops for patients and cancer organizations and trains healthcare professionals. Through this experience, she has amassed extensive knowledge at both the frontline and policy level. Ilene holds a Master's of Social Work degree from the University of Toronto, and today she will be presenting Money Matters, Financial Options for Cancer Patients. Welcome, Ilene. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Jeremy, so much for the opportunity to present today. I am going to bring up my PowerPoint. So again, as Jeremy mentioned, feel free to ask questions at any time. I'm going to be going through a number of different topics. So if you have questions along the way, no worries, feel free to interrupt with a question through the chat function. What I wanted to do first, I'll give you, of course, the legalese slide first. And just to mention, as you see in the last sentence, programs are constantly changing. Governments introduce new legislation from time to time. So just keep in mind that, this presentation is accurate as of today, and programs, again, do change. So always check for changes. So I want to tell you a little bit, and I'll just take a few minutes just to take you through, if you're not familiar with Wellspring and what we do. So we are a network of cancer support centers, and we serve patients with any type of cancer at any stage in their cancer journey, as well as their family and caregivers. And our programs are offered at no cost, with no need for referral from a healthcare professional. So we welcome anybody at any time. And we're slowly reopening, and we have 2 locations in the GTA, one in Oakville and one on the campus of Sunnybrook Hospital. And as you'll see, we have some affiliated Wellspring centers in other areas like Brampton, London, Niagara, Calgary, and Edmonton. But we are still offering the bulk of our programs through our virtual center, which is called Well on the Web. And that started up back in 2019. And then when the pandemic hit, we quickly transitioned over 90% of our programs to an online format. And because of the popularity, because we're able to reach so many people across Canada who maybe aren't able to come into a Wellspring Center, we're going to continue with our virtual offerings. And again, there's so much available online, interactive group programs, there's webinars, you can get certain types of individual support over the phone. If you don't have time to join a specific program, there are a number of self-paced resources available on the Wellspring website as well. In terms of what we offer, as you'll see, a wide range of programs, from emotional to informational to physical functional, really addressing all of the issues faced by cancer patients. And additional streams of programming, we now have programs that cater to those that are living with a chronic cancer. We have our OASIS programs, which are geared towards people with an advanced cancer diagnosis, and we also offer bereavement support. I'll just give you a little taste of the programs. For emotional support at the individual level, we have our peer support volunteers, and these are trained volunteers who are able to connect with you at the start of your journey, provide you with support, and give you a little introduction to the Wellspring program so that you can access the ones that work best for you. We have a couple of coaching programs available. We also offer emotional support on the group front. So everything from our healing journey, which is a multi-level program, to programs catering to men, and again, to advanced and metastatic cancer. Family programming, we focus on both when the parent is diagnosed with cancer and when a child is diagnosed with cancer, and support families in both of those scenarios. We have our physical and functional programs, which are now again starting to go back in center, but still offering them all online. And that's our group exercise program, cancer-related fatigue, Chi Life, and yoga. And then we have a number of informational programs. We have what we call our Be Well Talks, which are different topics that are of interest to cancer patients. We have a number of self-paced learning videos on the website. So a little bit of something for everybody. A very popular program is our 8-week brain fog program, and that provides strategies for dealing with cancer-related brain fog. And then our strategies and skills workshops, which just teach people new skills, new coping techniques, and you'll see just some samples. We have art therapy and music therapy, and those are multi-week programs that are introduced throughout the year. So really a whole array of programs. So the one that I work with and what we're going to focus on today is the Money Matters program. And the Money Matters program was created in recognition of the financial stress that often accompanies a cancer diagnosis. You're often dealing with a loss of income if you've taken time off of work. There are always increased expenses, be it the medication that's not covered by a drug plan, medical supplies, transportation to and from the hospital. We know all about the cost of parking at the hospital. The list really goes on and can really, really add to the stress of a diagnosis. So with the Money Matters program, it's an opportunity to, again, meet one-on-one with the case manager. And we're mainly doing phone and video conferencing appointments, but starting to have in-person appointments at our Sunnybrook and our Oakville locations. And as you'll see, we cover a wide range of things that may be impacting you. So we'll take a look when we meet with somebody to see if there are any government or workplace benefit programs that might be available. We'll look at different options for helping with medical expenses and household expenses. When somebody's done treatment and is thinking about a return to work, we can help them deal with their employer and their insurance company, work on graduated return to work plans, things like that. Full service catering to people's financial needs during treatment. Related to the Money Matters program, we have a returning to work online support and education group, and that helps you assess readiness to return to work and then prepare for a return to work. On wellspring.ca, you'll find our long-term disability video series, which is a 5-part video series that gives you the basics of long-term disability. So very helpful if that's a benefit program you're accessing. And then lastly, we have our Wellness at Work program, and that's for people who have returned to work already after cancer. And it's a chance to share with others how they're doing with the return to work experience. And we also cover topics relevant to working, such as, managing stress at work. So again, just a little taste of our programs, but what we are here for today is to talk about what might be available to you in terms of financial resources while you're undergoing cancer treatment. And there are 3 areas that I focus on. The first one is income replacement programs. The second, assistance with medical expenses. And then thirdly, assistance with household and other expenses. So let's first start with taking you through the income replacement programs. And these are the programs that people access if they have to stop working for treatment. So I divide them into four categories. On the top left, we have our financially tested programs, and those are programs that before they even look at the level of illness that you have, they want to see what your financial situation is and if you're eligible financially. On the top right, we have our contribution-based programs, and those are programs that you contribute to. You see contributions on your paycheck, or if you're self-employed, you'll see them through your tax return. On the bottom left, we have our workplace programs. So if you were to flip through your benefit booklet, that's what you would see there. And lastly, personal resources. So those are assets or insurance that you may have put in place for things like savings purposes or retirement, or in the case of illness. Within each of these categories, there are a couple of programs. So the financially tested programs are our social assistance programs, and in Ontario, that's Ontario Works, and the Ontario Disability Support Program. Our contribution-based programs are employment insurance sickness benefits and Canada Pension Plan disability benefits. Workplace programs that you may or may not have, short-term and long-term disability. And then personal resources. And again, those are the personal assets or private insurance that you may have in place. So I wanted to take the opportunity to go through each program just to give you a little introduction. So I'm going to start in the top right, and I'm going to start with employment insurance sickness benefits. And that's really, I view it as our federal government's short-term disability program. And it has a very, very low threshold in terms of eligibility. You just have to be medically unable to work. It's a very simple medical certificate that your doctor fills out, and it doesn't even have to disclose your medical condition or your diagnosis. It just has to state how long you will be unable to work. In terms of contribution requirements, you have to have worked 420 hours in the past year, so in the year before you start your application. And I put a star beside the 420 hours because that is a special number of hours that was put in place during the pandemic, because the usual threshold is 600 hours, and it will return to that 600-hour threshold in September of 2022. How long are sickness benefits available? Well, you can collect them up to 15 weeks. The good news is back in the 2021 budget, the federal government proposed increasing it to 26 weeks sometime during the summer of 2022. We don't have a date yet, but we haven't heard that it isn't going to go through. So look for that to possibly increase to 26 weeks. With EI sickness benefits, it's an online application. The first week that you're off of work, you're not paid. It's considered a waiting period, but then they'll pay you back to your second week off of work. And it typically takes them to administer the claim and start paying you roughly about a month. In terms of how much it pays, it's 55% of your earnings, but it does max out at $638 a week. Employment insurance benefits are taxable, and so they'll take a little bit of tax off of each of your payments. So just an example in terms of if you wanted to see 55%, if it's somebody making $30,000 per year, they would get about $317 a week. So that's EI sickness, which is, again, our sort of federal government short-term disability program, and often the first program that people access if they don't have workplace benefits. I'm going to stay in the top right quadrant, and I'm going to turn now to Canada Pension Plan disability benefits. So most people think about Canada Pension Plan as our retirement program, which it is, and which we hope to access at age 65. But there is a companion program called Canada Pension Plan Disability Benefits. And the important thing to note is if you do access CPP disability benefits, it does not have any impact on your CPP retirement. It's from a separate pool of money, so it will not make you get less at retirement age. So what do you need in order to access and apply for CPP disability benefits? Two things. First, they're going to look at your contribution history. So they're going to be looking for you to have contributed to CPP in 4 of the last 6 years. There are some exceptions. For example, if you weren't working because you were raising a young child. And then they'll also look through the application package to see that you meet the definition of disability for CPP purposes. So what is that definition of disability? Well, it's a convoluted one, but the 2 main words that they focus on is that your disability is severe and prolonged. Severe means that you just can't do any type of work on a regular basis, not just your previous job. And prolonged is the tough one. They use this term long-term and of indefinite duration, but don't really speak to a particular time period. However, administratively, they're looking for you to have an illness treatment that's going to prevent you from working for at least a year. How does it work? There's an application form that the patient completes, and you can do that by paper or submit it online. Your doctor or nurse practitioner completes a companion medical report, and all of that is sent into Service Canada, and then they review it. They have a triage system. So what they call regular applications, you'll get a decision within 4 months. If it's a grave illness, you'll get a decision within 30 calendar days. So grave illnesses, there's a list of 32 conditions, and those are conditions that are typically ones where there's sort of severe functional limitations. And there are a number of cancers on that list: brain, pancreatic, kidney, liver, ovarian, metastatic breast cancer, multiple myeloma, ALL and AML, and a number of others. So again, they don't necessarily get an approval, but they do get a faster decision within 30 calendar days. And then there's a separate category of terminal illness, which has its own application form and medical report. And those are for diseases that are incurable with a prognosis of within 6 months. If you are approved for CPP disability, you can see here the payment amounts. The most that you can get on a monthly basis is $1457.45. The average last month was just over $1,000 a month. And then if you have a child under 18, you get an extra $264 added to your check. If you have a child from 18 to 24 who's in full-time school, they would get a check for $264 a month. So that is a CPP disability. So we've gone through our top right quadrant, and I want to move now to the top left. And those, again, are our financially tested programs. And I'm going to start off with Ontario Works, which was previously called Welfare. Again, that's part of our social assistance program. And with Ontario Works, it's again financially tested. So they're looking for 2 things. They're looking for your liquid assets to be below a specified level. So for individuals, that's $10,000. For couples, it's $15,000. And what they mean by liquid assets is money in the bank, any investments, RRSPs, that type of things that can be converted to cash easily. You also have to have your household income below what Ontario Works pays you. So that's sort of the other companion financial eligibility test. And if you do meet these criteria and are approved, you can see here just some samples of what Ontario Works pays you. And the payments are comprised of 2 parts. A basic need, so that's something to cover food and other needs, and a shelter amount. And so the total amount you get as a single person would be $733, a couple $1136, and a couple with 1 child $1191. Now there are ways that you can try and increase the amount that you get from Ontario Works, and there are some companion benefits. So the great thing is you get a drug card with Ontario Works, and that covers the cost of medications that are on Ontario's formulary. And as well, there's things like vision care for dependent children, eye exams are covered. And I, star at the bottom the special diet allowance because that's the first thing I will suggest to somebody to try and increase the amount of Ontario Works that someone can get. So there's a form that the doctor completes that has a number of conditions that warrant a special diet. So celiac disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, weight loss due to a cancer diagnosis. And if your doctor notes that you have any of those conditions, that can result in an extra payment for you through the special diet allowance. You can also try and get some additional funds for transportation costs. So if you can demonstrate to Ontario Works that you're attending medical appointments frequently, they may be willing to give you some additional money on your check. The companion program to Ontario Works for people with a disability is our Ontario Disability Support Program, or ODSP. That has financial tests just like Ontario Works, but a little bit more generous. So for the liquid asset test for a single person, you can have up to 40,000. For a couple, it's up to 50,000. And then again, they'll look at the household income just to make sure that it's below what ODSP would pay you. And then once you satisfy the financial requirements, they will then take a look at your level of disability. And so what they're looking for is a substantial physical or mental impairment that's expected to last greater than 1 year. So again, that 1 year mark, like CPP disability. And it also has to be something that has an impact on your daily living. So maybe it affects your ability to attend to your personal care, function in the community, or function in the workplace. ODSP pays more than Ontario Works, as you'll see. So just under $1,200 for somebody single, $1,750 for a couple, and then a little bit more, $1,815 if it's a couple with a child. And with ODSP, there's also the possibility of additional benefits. So you get the drug card just like you do with Ontario Works. There are dental benefits available for certain situations, vision care benefits. Once again, you can try and get some additional funds through the special diet allowance or through a medical transportation allowance. So again, two things that you'd want to look in to see if they're applicable to your situation. And then we're down into the workplace programs. So that's short-term and long-term disability. And then this is something you're going to check in your benefits booklet or your employee handbook just to see what you might have available. And with short-term and long-term disability, the first thing I note is that they're unique contracts. So everybody is going to have, a policy that's slightly different. So I talk generally about it, but you may have something that's quite different from somebody else that you speak to at another employer. And as you'll see, they really, really range in terms of how much they pay. So it could be anywhere from 60 to 100% of your pay. And they also really range in terms of how long you're paid for. So there were some that will be as short as 6 weeks, and I've seen some short-term disability policies that pay for up to a year. And it varies. Sometimes with large employers, short-term disability is paid by your employer. So you're going to continue to get something that looks like a paycheck every 2 weeks. Or sometimes an insurance company is involved and they're the ones that are cutting the check. So that's short-term disability. But if you have to stay off longer, your workplace may offer long-term disability, and that's what we call a group long-term disability policy. With long-term disability, there's typically a waiting period. So you have to wait a certain amount of time on sick leave before you can access long-term disability. And that's typically the length of either employment insurance sickness benefits, so the 15 weeks, or the length of your company's short-term disability. And with long-term disability, it's going to pay a percentage of your salary. The typical is around 67%, but you'll see lots that are 60 or 50%. You'll see some that have a whole formula for calculation. And then long-term disability can be taxable or tax-free depending on who pays the premiums. So again, very individual terms, always important to take a look at your benefit booklet and have somebody help you with it through HR or through a social worker. And then lastly, we have personal resources. And these are things that, again, are unique to each person and fortunately, sometimes have to be accessed depending on your financial situation during treatment. So some people may have to dip into their savings or cash RRSPs, again, things you want to avoid, but may be inevitable in the circumstances. Some people may, have to refinance a home. You may have purchased critical illness or private long-term disability, and you want to look into that. And then you also want to do a check to see if perhaps when you signed up for your credit card or your line of credit, maybe you are paying for disability insurance on that loan or credit card. So take a look. And sometimes life insurance benefits do have some funds that you can access while still alive. So that's another possibility. And in terms of the income replacement programs, it's important to note what happens at age 65, because, for example, long-term disability, 99% of the policies, it will stop paying at age 65. If you're on CPP disability, that's going to convert automatically to CPP retirement when you turn 65. If you're on Ontario Works and ODSP, it's important to note that those are also going to, except for a very limited exceptions, those are going to stop at age 65 because you're going to transition over to CPP retirement and old age security. But keep in mind that employment insurance sickness benefits, assuming you satisfy the other eligibility requirements, they are available for anybody at any age that's been working and has to stop working due to illness. And it's, the subject of a whole other seminar, but I'll just tell you very briefly in terms of what happens with your income at retirement age. So we have our CPP retirement benefit program, and you can access your benefits anytime from age 60 to age 70. And the amount you get is going to depend on how much and for how long you've contributed. So if you access it early, if you access it prior to age 65, you're going to be penalized. They adjusted about 0.6% for each month early that you take it. But conversely, if you postpone a little bit past age 65, they'll continue to increase the amount that's payable to you. In terms of how much CPP retirement pays, the maximum is about $1,200 a month. The other program available to Canadian citizens and permanent residents is old age security, and that's available from ages 65 and up. You have to have lived in Canada for at least 10 years. If you do defer receipt of old age security after age 65, they'll increase it a little bit each month. But the bottom line is the maximum old age security payment that you can get is about $635 a month. Guaranteed income supplement, just something to mention that you can apply for at the same time as your application for old age security, and that's a monthly benefit that's paid on top of your old age security if you have low income other than your old age security. So somebody with, for example, a low level of CPP retirement might qualify for a top up to their old age security through the guaranteed income supplement. And if you qualify for the guaranteed income supplement, Ontario gives you gains or the provincial version of the guaranteed income supplement. And then lastly, the allowance for the survivor, that's for somebody in a low income situation, ages 60 to 64. It's just, again, a top up to their household income. So just something to mention in terms of what happens to your benefits when you turn 65. Other CPP benefits that are good to be aware of, CPP has a one-time, what they call their death benefit, and it's a lump sum payment to the estate on behalf of somebody that contributed to CPP for a certain period of time, and that's a one-time $2,500 payment. And they also offer a survivor's pension to the spouse or common law partner of a deceased contributor. And similarly, for a child under 25, there is a surviving child benefit. So those are the streams of income replacement options that are available. So I'm going to turn to the second source of funding that might be available if you're taking time off of work for cancer treatment. And that's resources that might be available for treatment-related expenses, so on the medical side of things. So the very first thing to take a look at is to make sure you have adequate drug coverage in place, and you may be lucky enough to have a private or a group insurance benefit plan. If not, you may be accessing one of the programs available through our Ontario Drug Benefit Program, which I'll describe shortly. Ontario has other prescription drug programs like our Exceptional Access Program. Cancer Care Ontario has some funding available. And then there are often programs that are made available through the drug manufacturers, compassionate access programs. So this is a very tough area to navigate, but luckily the cancer centers now have what's called medication reimbursement specialists or drug access navigators, and they can help you figure out the best way to access funding and drug coverage. So if you're in a situation where you need some help in that regard, I really encourage you to reach out to the drug access navigators at your cancer center. In terms of the Ontario Drug Benefit Program, the main public drug program is our Trillium drug program, which I'll give you a little description of. If you are receiving home nursing care through home care and community services, so what used to be called a LIN or CCAC, they may be able to provide you with a drug card. As I mentioned, if you're on Ontario Works or Ontario Disability, you get a drug card. Seniors are part of the Seniors Ontario Drug Benefit Program, and we have OHIP Plus for people under 24 who don't have any private insurance. So those are our Ontario Drug Benefit Programs. And Trillium. So Trillium, as I mentioned, is our public drug program, and there's a lot of misunderstandings about Trillium, but the bottom line is it's really for households who have high drug costs compared to their household income. And they don't have any other types of insurance. And what Trillium does is they look at the family's income, and they create a deductible that's based on the family's income and the size of the family. And you have to spend your drug cover. You spend your money on drugs until you hit your deductible, and then the government kicks in the rest. So it's a deductible in the sense that you're paying for your drugs out of pocket until you hit a certain amount, but it's not like a premium. It's not like an insurance premium where you have to actually, give funds over to Trillium. You were just paying for the cost of your drugs until you hit your deductible, and then the government will start paying. And it's important to note that everybody is eligible for Trillium if they have a health card in Ontario. Other helpful resources that you should be aware of. So we have our assistive devices program, and that's a program that the government provides funding for things like mobility aids, diabetic supplies, home oxygen therapy, prostheses, compression garments, ostomy supplies. So again, very important program. Accessible parking permits are a huge help in terms of accessibility, so being able to park close to where you need to be, but it can also be a cost-saving measure because there are certain areas where you can park and not have to put money in a meter, so always good to look into that, but check the rules and what areas you can park in. Again, through home and community care support services, or the LIN or CCAC as it was called, there are certain home care services that might be available. Low-cost dental clinics. So if you were to go on the City of Toronto website, you would see that there are a number of clinics that offer services at a lower cost than standard dental services. And then lastly, for general medical expenses, things related to your cancer diagnosis or treatment, the Canadian Cancer Society has a 1-800 number where there are information specialists who have a directory of all types of resources, and they may know of something in your area that will help you with a cost that you're having difficulty with. So always good to reach out to Canadian Cancer Society and their information specialists. Social workers at the hospital can help you access some of the charities that provide financial assistance to cancer patients. So, for example, and these are just a handful of examples, the Kelly Shire's Breast Cancer Foundation helps patients with breast cancer with treatment and other expenses. The Shine Through the Rain Foundation can sometimes help with medical expenses. There are a lot of charities geared towards helping with children with cancer, and that's one example would be the Jennifer Ashley Children's Charity. And March of Dimes is another good one. They have their own assistive devices program that helps with the cost of things like mobility aids. So moving from the medical expenses over to our other sets of expenses, which is household expenses. So what can be found that can help in this area? So rental arrears, if you're on Ontario Works or Ontario Disability, you will be able to apply to what they call the Housing Stabilization Fund, and that helps with overdue rent if you're at threat of eviction. You can try and access subsidized housing. We all know about the wait lists, but it may be just worthwhile getting yourself on a wait list. In most municipalities, there will be a rent bank, and that's sort of a one-time interest-free loan that might be able to help with overdue rent. If your utilities are in arrears, there are some programs that can help. You should look for the LEAP program, so our Low Income Energy Assistance Program. There's an Emergency Energy Fund in Toronto, the Housing Stabilization Fund if you're on Ontario Works or ODSP. If you have low income, you can apply to our Ontario Electricity Support Program to get a rebate on your bill. And similarly, for low income seniors and those with a disability, there are water bill rebates available through the city. And then other helpful resources, there is a wonderful community of food banks throughout Ontario, easily found online to find the one that's in your neighborhood. There are property tax relief programs, again, for low-income seniors or those that are disabled, again, available through the city. Subsidized housing, and although it's difficult to get into subsidized housing, we also have in Toronto, for example, a number of what we call housing help centers, and they help you access more affordable housing. So they'll have lists of rentals available that may be able to assist you, and they are staffed by housing workers who specialize in that area. And then another very helpful resource is credit counselors. So credit counselors aren't like bankruptcy trustees. Credit counseling agencies like Credit Canada are not-for-profit agencies that help you if you have a lot of debt, if you're having trouble managing your budget. They're free services and really, really good to reach out to if you're having financial difficulties. 211. So if you dial 211 from wherever you are, or go to 211ontario.ca and enter your area, it is a phenomenal directory of community resources. So they'll have their listings, of community agencies, places that help with housing, food banks, that type of thing. You can dial 311 if you have questions about government resources. You can reach out to community agencies that may have funding available or have, may be able to loan equipment, have volunteer driving programs. So, things like Rotary Club, Lions Club, Salvation Army, Red Cross. And then if you have a situation where you may need legal advice, so let's say you've been turned down for a disability program, take a look at our community legal clinics. They're financially tested and they offer free legal services if you qualify in a number of different areas. So again, just resources to be aware of that can really, really help you with your situation. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to charitable organizations. Again, the ones that I've mentioned, Shine Through the Rain Foundation, for example, helps with overdue utility bills. Kelly Shire's Breast Cancer Foundation helps with portions of rent payments, things like that. So I've spoken about a number of different programs and a number of different resources. It's a ton of information. And what I find with the government and the workplace programs is they don't always fit together easily. It can be very hard to navigate. So I encourage you, feel free to reach out to our Money Matters program. Feel free to reach out to your hospital social worker to help you figure out what might be available to you. And if you do want to reach out to the Money Matters program, feel free to contact us. It's moneymatters@wellspring.ca, or you can also book an appointment through our website.
Thank you so much, Ilene, for that wonderful presentation and for sharing all those amazing resources. Just a reminder to anyone watching that we'll be posting this video on our website, and that way you can, just in case you tuned in late, you can rewatch it to review some of those resources that Ilene talked about. Ilene, again, if people do want to reach out for more information about the Money Managers program and even your return to work, the class that you teach, what is the best way to reach out?
So again, moneymatters@wellspring.ca would be the best way, and that's an email that we'll get directly. You're welcome to contact me directly. It's Ilene@wellspring.ca, which is ILENE@wellspring.ca. And on our website, if you were interested in registering for returning to work or wellness at work, again, we have a list of online programs. You just register. Set up a registration for Wellspring, and that'll enable you to register for all of the programs.
Wonderful, fantastic. I don't think there are any other questions right now. If anyone has any questions, you can type into the chat. Otherwise, like Ilene mentioned, you can reach out to her. So thank you again, Ilene, for presenting today, and thank you also to Wellspring as well. And we will be in touch, and all the best. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to speak. Take care.
Thanks, Ilene.
Bye-bye.
So thank you again to Ilene for that wonderful presentation. Up next, we have a presentation from Jason Wong. So he is from GWN Events, and they organized this incredible dragon boat program. I was sort of vaguely familiar with Dragon Boat and what was involved, but after talking to Jason, I learned so much more and what an incredible activity it is in terms of the camaraderie and the exercise and being outdoors, and they're offering a brand new 5-week all cancer paddler program, which consists of 5 weekly practice sessions every Monday at 6:30 p.m. And this is all held down at the Sunnyside Paddling Club on Lakeshore in Toronto. And we invited Jason to join us to talk a little bit more about this program for anyone that might be interested in picking up a new activity for the summer. So I will throw it to Jason with this presentation and provide some more information shortly after. Thanks.
Hi, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to talk to you about Dragon Boat and also share a new program we have this year specifically for all cancer paddlers. So to kick things off, I want to show you a short video It's a preview of one of our festivals that we had in Orlando. Here we go.
To some, a day of idyllic paddling down the lazy river is just the ticket. But for others, dragon boat racing is the rush they've been waiting for. Dragon boat racing has it all. Competitiveness, teamwork, excitement, all combined to create a great day on the water and memories to last a lifetime. Register today for a Major League Dragon Boat event at GWNDragonBoat.com. Do it!
Okay, hopefully that got you excited. And now I'm going to talk to you a little more about the sport of dragon boat. So dragon boat originates from a Chinese legend. In 400 BC China, there was a man called Yuan. He was a poet and statesman that was loved by the people, but he was unjustly exiled by the emperor, and he was so sad. It made him so sad that he threw himself in the river. And when the people found out, they rushed into their boats and headed out into the water to look for him. Unfortunately, they couldn't find him, so what they did instead was they threw wrapped rice into the water, and they also beat the drums to scare away the fish and also the evil spirits, so they wouldn't get to chew on. The legend evolved and to what has become today as the Dragon Boat Festival. So every year, people come together and celebrate and commemorate Yuan by racing dragon boats. So the sport itself, the boat consists of boats that are 40 feet long. There's 20 paddlers, a drummer in the front, and a steersperson in the back. The boats race against each other along a 500-meter race course. The festival has been in China for a long time, but it was only introduced to North America in 1986. The first festival was in Vancouver, Canada. And today, there are over 60 countries that host Dragon Boat festivals every year. At every one of our festivals, we have a breast cancer paddler ceremony to commemorate those that we've lost, those that have survived cancer, and those that continue to battle it. So why Dragon Boat? There are many reasons that make Dragon Boat special and unique. The first one is that the sport is inclusive of everyone. So regardless of your age or your physical ability, the sport is very easy to learn and anybody can become good at it. The key to winning dragon boat races isn't strength or having a star player on the team. It's really a team sport where everybody has to work together. The key to winning is the synchronization and the communication. So that with that, you really learn to work well with each other. It's great for physical fitness. It's a low impact sport that anybody can do. And with being fit, there are many potential benefits, such as a stronger immune system, better sleep, and reduce stress. And the last is the community. You meet a lot of great people, and you build bonds because of the teamwork. And these are people that you develop lifelong friendships with. No matter where you go, you will meet dragon boaters all over the world. So a little bit more information about GWN. We're a company based in Toronto, and we produce dragon boat festivals across North America. We've been doing it for almost 30 years. We run the Major League Dragon Boat Series, which is a series of 10 dragon boat festivals across North America. 3 of them are in Toronto. Our goal is to really share the sport and the benefits, all the benefits that I mentioned, and with the community, and to help the community and new teams grow. We partner and work with local and national charity organizations. Over the years, we've raised over $1 million. This year, we're working with the Tim Hortons Foundation camps, Immunize Nevada, Adaptive Adventures, and Save Our Sisters in Miami. Okay, the festivals are a great experience for everyone. Paddlers get to race against each other throughout the day. And the events are also free to attend for family, friends, and spectators. So they're welcome to come and cheer for their favorite teams. At every festival, there are lots of attractions for the entire family, including a health and wellness village, local food trucks, a cultural expo where you can learn about Chinese culture, live entertainment, including dance and performances. And as I mentioned, every festival has a breast cancer and all cancer paddler ceremony. How to get involved? But for the first time, we're doing an experienced dragon boat program that's specific for all cancer paddlers. We've had a lot of breast cancer teams join over the years that we've helped grow and nurture, and now we want to do the same for all cancer paddler teams. So there's no experience necessary. Our coaches will, again, teach you everything from the basics all the way to being race ready. We do recommend that you consult with your doctor before participating in any physical fitness programs such as dragon boating. The entire program is 5 weeks long, and it's a weekly practice at Sunnyside Paddling Club located in Toronto. It's right near the outdoor pool along Lakeshore on the west side. So there's 2 programs available. The first program is in spring, and that's every Monday starting June 6th. And the festival is on July 9th. And the second program is in the summer. It starts Monday, August 8th, and the festival is on September 10th and 11th. This is a 2-day festival. So that includes the racing at the festival with your team from the program. The cost is $150, and that includes all use of equipment, including boats, paddles, and life jackets, the coaching, as well as a team jersey. So we hope you can join us this year and try dragon boating. It's a really, truly amazing sport. And if you want to learn more or register, please go to our website at gwndragonboat.com. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at jason@GWN Events. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Jason, for sharing some more information about the Dragon Boat program and for teaching us about the history of Dragon Boat. It's super fascinating and sounds incredibly fun. And again, if you want to find some more information about this Dragon Boat program, it is GWNDragonboat.com. And the deadline for sign up is the day of the first practice, which would be June 6th. So reach out to sign up if you are interested before then. So thank you again, Jason. Thank you again, Ilene, for your presentation as well. And that is the end of our first portion of Community Connections. We are going to be back on in about 5 minutes for our cooking and nutrition demonstration with our special guests, our students from George Brown College in the Culinary Nutrition Management Program. So we have some delicious recipes to share for you, so stay tuned. Stick around. We will be back on in about 5 minutes. Thanks.